Yo guys, welcome back to the podcast. So today's podcast, as you can see from the title, is will the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA Eastern Conference win the full championship? So this is going to be my playoff predictions for them as of right now in March, and the full roster reaction. So right now I'm on the NBA.com website looking at the Brooklyn Nets full roster, and it really is, it's still insane to think how they have all these players, and just 3 years ago they were trash, and now they could make it to the finals possibly. They got a couple people I don't really know, like Bruce Brown, but they got Spencer Dinwiddie, he's pretty good. They got Joe Harris, who won the three-point contest a couple years back. They have Jeff Green, he's also past his prime, but he's still a decent role player, bench player. They got Tyler Johnson, he's a good guard. They've had DeAndre Jordan, he's a center. And they've also got Landry Shamet, Reggie Perry, and a couple other guys. But I'm down here looking at the bottom of the website, and it shows you the coaching staff. So on top of all of that, on top of them getting all these great players, they have arguably one of the top 5 or so staff in the league coach duos is what I mean. Because head coach, they have Steve Nash, who was a great player, and he has a great mind. So that was my full roster reaction. I think it really is crazy just how much talent they have on that one organization in Brooklyn, New York, when it comes to the players, the staff, just all around. But now is going to be my playoff prediction segment. So right now, the Eastern Conference current standings is 76ers and the Nets. 76ers are only ahead of the Nets by a game or two. So it's a small lead for first place. And then Bucks are in third with Giannis leading that team. Somehow the Knicks are in first place this year, which is pretty crazy. But it looks like the Knicks are probably going to make the playoffs. We got the Hornets, the Hawks, the Celtics, the Heat, the Pacers, the Bulls. The Raptors might not make the playoffs. And the Cavaliers, and then the other teams at the bottom. So when it comes to predicting how they're going to perform in the playoffs, they're still new playing with each other, some of the players. Some of them played together years ago on the Oklahoma City Thunder. But even though the chemistry isn't long-term so far overall, I still think they're gonna work together very well. They're definitely making it past the first round of the playoffs. But going to the finals, that's a big statement, but I'm going to put my money on that. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win the finals quite yet, because the West this year as well, even though the East has great players, the West somehow still has better teams, even though a lot of players moved to the East, but a lot of them's all on one team, like the Nets or the Sixers. But when it comes to going well in the playoffs, there's a few teams that they really need to focus on and get good strategies to actually beat them. Yeah, they say defense wins games, but Brooklyn is full of offense, so I feel like if they could just get their prime offense together. But, so right now, I would say, in order to make it to the finals, they would have to beat Giannis. They would have to beat the Bucks. If, depending on how the final seeding goes, they might end up going against the Miami Heat, which played the Lakers pretty good last NBA Finals. They made it to the finals. I still think Jimmy Butler's underrated. He hasn't been playing terrific this season, but he's still really good. So yeah, they would have to beat the Bucks and the Heat and someone else somehow. I don't know the final seeding. That's why I'm not saying the 76ers, because there's a good chance the 76ers could lose to the Heat if Joel Embiid is out during the playoffs or something. That's why I'm not saying the Nets have to beat the 76ers. But I'm pretty sure they're going to go up against the Bucks or the Heat, Celtics. So thanks for listening to today's podcast here on Spotify. And it's going to be crazy to see all these players playing the playoffs together on one team. But yeah, I'm definitely got my money on them making it to the finals. But I don't know if they're going to win in a Game 7 series against the Lakers if LeBron and AD come back healthy. And I'll see you in the next podcast. Peace.